demonstrate how you touch off a automatic probe in a Haas ST-10. So right now we're in the edit mode of the controller. The first thing we got to do is we got to go to conversational mode. First thing you do is hit the MDI button, program conversation. That brings up the conversational mode screen. We want to go to probe, which is all the way at the end. Hit right to enter it. So we have three modes here. The first mode is manual mode, and the second mode is automatic mode and brake detect mode. Manual mode is what you use to touch off the tools automatically for the first time, which gives you a good working offset to start with. And then from then on out, you can actually use the automatic touch-off mode to automatically retouch your tools off. So for example, if you've changed an insert or an insert broke and you put a new insert in, anything like that, the automatic mode will retouch it off and give you a good offset. Brake detect mode is an extension of that, and what it does is it gives you an extra field here for tolerance, and so if your offset is more than a certain level off, when it touches it off, it will give you an error that you have a broken tool. So if you're doing critical operations that have to be very precise, or if something broken, you need that, you absolutely have to have that tool working, you can run the brake detect mode to see if that tool is out of specification. So the first thing we're going to demonstrate is how to use manual mode. So to use manual mode, the first thing we need to do actually in the machine is we need to make sure that this area is clear. This is the probe element, and it's going to rotate down, right? So if our stock is out too far, it's actually going to collide with the stock, and we don't want that. So we want the stock to be pushed in pretty far. This is perfectly sufficient, this distance to have it touched off for the probe to move over. So now we've verified that. We need to raise and lower the arm. The codes for that in this machine are M104 and M105. In the conversational mode, you can just press F1, and that will trigger the probe. So you heard the pneumatics actuate. You can see the probe here is not deployed. Previously, all the offsets and all the calibration was done to make this accurate, which would be a different video. So the key to using manual mode for the probe touch off is you need to get the insert about a 1/4 inch away. Depending on the nose direction, will change where it is, but you get it about a 1/4 inch away, you hit go, and it's automatically going to find the correct surfaces based on the tool offset direction. So we're going to speed this up a little bit. So just jogging Z, jogging in next. And the tool that we're touching off is just the tool offset number 3, so it's headed in this direction. So it's actually going to touch off on 2 faces. So take a look at this. You jog. You can see here that the tool that we're going to touch off is about a 1/4 inch away from the probe. You see here that the tool tip direction is set as number 3. You see here in this window that we are touching off both on this vertical surface and then also on the top vertical surface of the probe, right? Those surfaces that you touch off, they touch off and change based on which tool offset your tool tip direction you're working with. So this is number 3, which is very common. You can see here as we go to tool tip 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, back to 3, you can see that this rotates around, right? And you can see also that it's pointing to what's going to touch off and how it's going to try touching it off, right? So for example, some tools can be touched off multiple ways, right? So we have a grooving tool in here, and some shops are going to touch it off with the back side of it touched off, and some are going to touch it off with the front side, right? So if you have the back side touched off, that's tool tip direction number 3, right? So you're coming in from here, touching off, and the other side would be tool tip direction number 4. Yeah, tool tip direction number 4. So be cognizant and mindful of how your shop touches off tools to make sure that you're touching off tools in the same way that the rest of your shop expects, because it would be very easy to touch something off in the incorrect manner based on that. So we have our tool tip direction or tool offset. We're on tool number 1, just a regular tool, mode the manual, right? And all we have to do is hit cycle start. I like to also set the rapids down. You don't have to. That's just me being careful. So it's moving automatically now. And you can hear those 2 beeps. The first beep is is when it touches the surface to initially find the probe, and then it touches off again very slowly to become very accurate. And that's one of the ways it maintains precision. So you'll hear 2 beeps for every face that it's touching off of. So you can see here, now that the cycle is complete, it went back to the correct starting position. So from here, if you wanted to touch off another tool, you would send it home, change the tool, and bring back another tool. But we're going to demonstrate the automatic mode next. So, we're just going to set the machine on. We're just going to leave the arm probe down for the sake of example. Also, when you generate that, when you actually run the code, you're generating it here in MDI, so you can actually see what you're doing, which is really cool. And if you want, you can cut and paste this code out into its own program. So you could touch off tools actually in the middle of the program, or you could make a special cycle or macro, or even alias your own M code, which actually goes and touches off a series of tools for you. So that's a really nice level of flexibility to have that can save you a lot of time. So we'll go here to automatic. So the reason why we can use automatic mode is because we know that since we touched off that tool the first time manually, we know that the offset is good, right? So if our offsets are not good or we don't know what they are, we have to do it manually first, right? But since we did it manually first, we know they're good. So now we can go back to automatic mode. So if something had changed, automatic mode would automatically compensate for that change. So you can see your tool number 1, tool offset. Go. And you will see the target here is actually going to move back towards the probe, and it's going to touch off. So there you go. We've now touched off that tool, and that one retracted the probe. So now we have a tool that we know is good. Those are the basics, how that would work. I think for this video, we'll hold off on break detect mode. We'll do that in a separate video because I think that can be better demonstrated in a program situation. So that's how you touch off tools with the probe.